You've got a new horizon, it's a very mistake. I'm melancholy town where we never smile. And all I wanna hear is the message beep. My dreams have got to kiss me 'cause I don't get sleep now. Windmill, windmill, farther than love forever heaven and take it all in on your stride. It is taking falling. Love forever, love is free. Let's turn forever, you and me. A windmill, windmill, farther than is everybody in. Love against his ass, man's fast cats, light 'em up like black cats, ladies, zombies at the jack. This my chocolate attack. I'm stepping in the hottest here, get me ripping in the hottest here. Watch me as the graphics said I'm sheltered, small town without sound. You in the break up out the dust, can't pop with us with your town, you kill it. So don't stop, get it, get. We are your captains in the city, watch me navigate. Turn forever headed and take it all in on your stride. It is again falling. Love forever, love is free. Let's turn forever, you and me. Windmill, windmill, farther than is everybody. Don't stop, get it, get it. We are your captains in this city. Watch me navigate. Don't stop, get it, get it. We are your captains in this city. Watch me navigate. Don't stop, get it, get it. We are your captains in this city. Watch me navigate. It's everybody. Take it all in on your stride. It is taken falling down. Love forever, love is free. Let's turn forever, you and me. Windmill, windmill, farther than is everybody. Feel good.
Hey, everybody, it's the top of the hour. That means you still got a couple minutes. This is still a comedy show, and we're still a comedy theater. So, grab yourself a snack, get something to drink, get comfy cozy, share out the link with your friends and family who aren't already in one of the streams, because the Social Distancing Stand-Up Showcase returns in about 2.5 minutes.
Somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. princess spinning through the town. Sooner or later, the fever ends, and I wind up feeling down. I need a man to take a chance on a love that burns out enough to last. So when the night falls, my lonely heart goes. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me.
Did you want that?
I need a man who'll take a chance on a love that burns out enough to last. When the night falls, my lonely heart calls. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah.
Well, you'll know when I start
dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna
As soon as
dance
she's able, you know. Yeah.
I wanna feel the heat with somebody.
Welcome, everyone, to the virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for the return of the social distancing stand-up showcase. Please welcome to your screen your host, Skip Bacon.
The crowd going wild, Jesse?
Oh yeah,
I can
much.
tell. Like super wild.
So much.
So much. I miss you guys, and I clearly need a lot more validation than I used to because we've been in quarantine a long time. It's so good to see everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. We haven't seen you in a very long time. I miss the sound of my own voice over a microphone and then out into the internet. I am so glad that you all came tonight. Thank you for having us. Jesse, give it up for Jesse. Woo! If he had made some sort of clapping noise right then, but like not for me, I was going to be real sad. So we have a special show for you tonight. For those of you who haven't joined us for the Comedy Showcase before, we are going to have comedians who have pre-recorded some videos for you, and they are going to be funny, and you're going to laugh, but they can't hear you laugh, which is like the saddest type of comedy. So you need to pop in the notes. If you're my dad, you're on YouTube. If you're some really witty people, I think some of the wittiest people, you're on Twitch. Sorry, other two platforms. Twitch is really witty. You can do it on Twitch. You can even do it on Facebook. That's where Gilbert's mom is always listening and making not inappropriate comments, but we won't understand they're not inappropriate until later. So those are the three platforms you can jump in on. Someone please send it to Clayton. I forgot to tell him about tonight. So those are your three platforms. Another thing you need to know is that you really do need to go into the little comments and like tell the comedians you miss them, you love them. The puns are totally worth it because they are, and I miss puns so much. I listened to 12 puns today to get myself ready, and I missed them. So my dogs were alarmed. I hadn't laughed that hard in a long time. So I'm very excited about tonight. Another thing you need to know is I have not seen or heard any of the comedy we're going to watch tonight. So I'm just as excited as you are. We're also going to put up the comedians' information underneath of their names. So if you're like, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen, I want to see more Jessie Smith tweets. You do. She's funny. You follow her on Twitter, follow her on Instagram, or you can even give to their Venmos that are down below there. You can also always give to the Stab Venmo that will periodically pop up possibly over my face at any point in time to pay for such things as the background. Yeah, I got a good look at the background. This brick wall doesn't come free, folks. So if you could give to Stab, that's how you do that. One of the other things you need to know is, number one, we started doing this as a type of open mic that we used to have here, which means people oftentimes have their little notebooks where they take their notes. This is my Lisa Frank notebook where I keep all my notes, like, hey, Skip, you're already talking too long. You should just get on with the show. Those type of things. So sometimes people are running new material, and that's okay, and we're very excited. Some people tonight are first-timers on the show. That's even cooler. So we're super stoked for tonight. And tonight is a special edition of the Social Distancing Comedy Showcase. I wanted people to give us some of their best family material. What's it like being a parent? What's it like being a child of someone? Being a sibling? Siblings are the worst. What is it like, I don't know, being a spouse right now or ever? What is your good family stuff? So we had some really good family stuff. And I am an aunt. I have a little niece named Parker Ann. I believe you have a picture of Parker Ann. I'm really excited. I submitted pictures for the first. I never do this. But I have a niece named Parker Ann. Are we showing a picture? We can. We have the technology. She's super awesome. She's amazing, and she's smart, and she's funny. But she's being raised by my little brother, who is an idiot. So I don't have a picture of him as a dad yet. I'll bring up a picture of him in a minute as a kid. So she's amazing, but she's being raised by my brother, who's an idiot. So like she does awesome little girl things, like plays with puppies. Like we play with puppies together. I have a little puppy. We were playing with it. It's adorable. She's adorable. She asked about a little boo-boo that my puppy had on his elbow. And I was like, oh, little Tim had to get some stitches, which is the normal thing to explain to a little girl about a puppy with a boo-boo. And Parker said, oh no, snitches. And I said, no, he got stitches. And she goes, 'cause he's a snitch. And she was whispering, oh no, snitches. And looking around as if she was trying to keep my dog from getting caught for being a snitch, which is when I learned that my little brother, in an attempt to keep my niece from tattletaling on him to her mother, his wife, had told her that snitches get stitches to keep her from tattletaling. So this is the kind of kid, this is the kind of influence that my little brother is being on my niece, which is awful. So in an attempt to remedy this and maybe give Parker Ann some leverage against my brother, I wanted to tell you all a story about a time my brother should have gotten stitches. And I'm not even sure he remembers this story. I'm not even sure my dad remembers this, but I very distinctly remember the day that me and my dad were sitting on the couch. I think I was probably 10. We were in the living room. I think I was probably 10, and my dad was like dad age. I don't know. They're always like the same age. He was dad age, and we were both sitting downstairs. And my little brother, who is 8, and he looks like this. Do you want to see a picture of my 8-year-old little brother? This is my 8-year-old little brother, Jack. He comes down the staircase from upstairs into the living room, and he has blood on his lips. He has blood on his teeth. His thumb is bleeding it's a pretty big wound. He's bleeding pretty profusely. He's holding his little tiny whitey underwear. They're covered in blood, and he's naked. I'm super amused immediately and start laughing immediately. I love it when Jack is in pain. My dad is terrified because mom is nowhere to be seen, and Jack is bleeding profusely. But overall, me and dad are just super, super, super curious about what has happened here. And so my little brother has to explain it to us because we don't know what's happened. Why are you bleeding from your thumb? Why is there also blood on your lip and your teeth, but better yet, your underwear? And why are you naked? Like, what's happened here? So my brother takes this chance to explain to us. It was a multi-step process that he goes through in an attempt to be a big boy. Because you know when you're little and your parents kind of like roll up your pants and they hold them like this for you, and then you stick your foot in the one hole while you're bracing yourself on them, and then they hold the other side for you, and you put your leg and you're bracing yourself. But this is all you know about how to put on clothes for a good portion of your life. So this is all my brother knew. But in an attempt to be independent, he wanted to dress himself. But this is the only method he knows. So instead of, getting help, finding another method, he's going to do that exact same method. So he takes his, in this case, underwear, and I'm assuming his pants, and he rolls them up just like mom and dad do, and he holds them. But he still needs a hand to brace himself with because they're not holding his underwear for him. He has to brace himself. He's like, don't worry about it. I have other ways of holding things. So he takes his underwear. He's explaining this all to us at 8. So just imagine that 8-year-old picture of Jack. You can show the picture again if you want. 8-year-old Jack explaining that he's taking his underwear and he's holding them just like mom and dad do, completely nude and 8. And then he is, in an attempt to free his bracing hand, taking his underwear to his mouth and transferring the cloth from his hand to his teeth. And then bracing himself with this hand and lowering himself as low to the ground as he can so that he can get his mouth close to his feet because that's where his underwear are. And then he's putting his foot through and then taking this hand back, releasing the underwear, transferring to the other piece of underwear, transferring the other hand out, and that's how he gets himself dressed in the morning. We did not know any of this. We're like, okay, great. But what happened? Why are you bleeding profusely? And he said, well, something went wrong in the transfer. And when I went to transfer my underwear to my non-bracing hand and then back, I bit down really hard and my thumb was still in there, and he bit into his hand and he was bleeding onto his underwear, but he held still for a second, so he bled a lot on the underwear also. So this was terrifying. So all of that to say, Parker, if you ever have to worry about tattling on your dad because snitches get stitches, you can tell him at least I don't get stitches while trying to put on my own underwear. Dad, you're such a little freak. Anyway, so that's my family story of the day. I hope that Jack's wife enjoyed that story. Pretty sure we've never told her that one. Didn't get told at the wedding. I don't know why. But now we have some other comedians who are going to tell us their funny stories. I hope there's like 2 puns, maybe 3. Woo, I haven't talked this much in a long time. I am thirsty for some comedy. Okay, who's our first person up? I wrote it down. I already forgot. It's Morty. Oh, I love Morty's family. Those are some beautiful people. It's Morty the Mortician. Give it up for Morty.
Hi everybody, my name is Morty Stein. Some of you may know me as Morty the Mortician. And the reason they call me that is because I am actually a working mortician. I hope everybody is staying safe during this pandemic, wearing a mask and social distancing. I remember as a kid, people would tell me, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. Now here we are several years later during a pandemic, and they're still telling me that. Hey, I just want to say thanks for having me on the show, Skip. I really appreciate it. I didn't know if I was going to have time to put a set together and get it to you because, lately I've been really busy. Some people say I've been kind of buried in my work. And, when I work, people ask me what my favorite part of my job is. I really like embalming, and I really like cosmetizing and doing hair and makeup. I like doing that because when the families look at their loved one in the casket and see that they're actually drop dead gorgeous at my hands. Social distancing and death are kind of the same thing. With social distancing, 6 feet apart, death 6 feet under. Little bit about me, I'm the youngest of 6. So that actually makes me the baby of the family. And that has some of the disadvantages at times. I remember once as a little kid, my brothers and sisters, they dressed me up as a dog and left me in front of a Korean restaurant. Yeah, that wasn't very nice. My oldest sister, the oldest one in the family, she just turned 72 years old. Yeah. And for her birthday, I thought I'd be the great little brother that I am, and I thought that I would just get her a card for her birthday. It was my business card, but hey, it's the thought that counts, right? Gotta give them something that they'll eventually gonna need someday. I also have a brother. My brother used to work at a cemetery. When he worked at the cemetery, I didn't really see him much because he actually worked the graveyard shift. Get it? A couple of things that happened during this pandemic over the last 8 months or so. Mrs. Morty and I celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary. Yeah, 30 years. Because of the pandemic, the stay-at-home orders and things being shut down, we really didn't do much this year like we did last year. For example, last year, we went out to dinner to my favorite restaurant. But check this out. After dinner, she actually opened the car door for me. Yeah, isn't that romantic? I thought so, but it would have been more romantic if we weren't flying down Highway 80 at the time. When you've been married this long, you kind of learn a little bit about each other. For example, I learned that I cuss a lot, and I didn't really know that. But I just recently found out that I do cuss a lot because Mrs. Morty kind of tells me that every fucking day. And we rarely argue. I think that's one of the secrets to a long relationship. We rarely argue, but when we do, she only wins half the arguments. Because my mother-in-law, she wins the other half. Longevity in marriage actually runs in our family. My brother and his wife just recently celebrated their 45th wedding anniversary. We celebrated 30 years, but like I said, longevity runs in the family. As a matter of fact, my parents are still together. That's right, my parents, after all these years, are still together. They have side-by-side plots over at East Lawn Cemetery, so that's why they're still there. My wife and I, we actually have a son. When we found out that Mrs. Morty was pregnant and that we were going to have a boy, we didn't really know what we were going to name him, but we did decide that when we did come up with a name, we didn't want to come up with anything that we could be shortened. For example, we didn't want to name him Robert, that you could be shortened to Bob or Bobby. We didn't want to name him Jonathan because we didn't want to call him John or Johnny or anything like that. And one of the reasons we didn't want to have a name like that is because years ago I used to have a boss, and he really hated it when we shortened his name to Dick, because his name was actually Brian, so you can understand why he was a little bit upset, I guess. So, also during this pandemic, I had a birthday. I turned 60 years old. I know I don't look it. Some people say I look like death warmed over, but no, I actually turned 60 years old. And I kind of had mixed feelings about it. I confided to a friend of mine about turning 60, and he goes, you know what, Morty? Life begins at 60. Let me just put it this way. Life begins at 60. And I thought about it, but I got, you know what else begins at 60? Heart disease, diabetes, and forgetting why you walked into the kitchen. Turning 60, I'm finding out a lot more things about myself. I'm growing hair in my ears and my toes. And hey, I don't even have a joke about that. That's how much I hate that shit. But hey, it is what it is. I'm still alive for now. But if things come to worse, gets worse, I know a guy. Hey, Skip, thanks for having me. I'm going to turn it back over to you. Hope everybody's safe, healthy, and happy, and wear a mask, and look out for your older neighbors. Bye, everybody.
Give it up, everybody, for Morty the Mortician. I did want to put him at the top of the show just in case it's like a little business drop. You need any business. I know it's a crazy time of year. I did actually ask him once if they had a busy season, because there are seasons for things like, there's a holiday season. There's a diamond season. Gilbert, there's a diamond season, and that's a time of year when it's popular to buy diamonds to give to the people you love. It coincides actually with holiday season. It ends right around Valentine's Day, actually. And I asked Morty if they had a busy season, and he said, yeah, it's about the same as diamond season. So I don't know what that means. I don't like the connotations at all as a diamond lover and someone desperately in love with another human. But thank you so much, Morty the Mortician, for being on. I miss that guy like crazy. He's super funny. I don't know how many forums Morty the Mortician is on right now, but on one of the forums, somebody made a little shout out for Mrs. Morty and that maybe she should be in some of your sets. It could have been, full disclosure, I was reading a lot of the forums and the little comments. It could have been my dad, and he just likes hot ladies. So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. Could have been my dad, but maybe we could get Mrs. Morty on one of these times. She is a hot lady, and Morty the Mortician is a funny guy, and I am very grateful. Thank you, Morty. You can find him for all your comedy and mortician needs. And then up next is Joey G, right? Yeah, I haven't seen his sets since the last show. I haven't seen him do comedy. I love him and his comedy, and I can't wait. I haven't seen this. Welcome, Joey G.
Oh, hello. My name is Joey G, and I'm a dad. I find being a dad is really quite terrifying. All these Hawaiian shirts keep appearing in my closet, and I have no idea how they're getting in there. As freaking me out. I have 2 kids. I have a son and a daughter. My son was singing all these show tunes from that musical Cabaret. Man, I shut that down immediately. You gotta understand, that's my only son. I need him to grow up to be a certain type of way, be a certain type of man when he gets older. And I already explained to him 1,000 times, we're a Les Mis family. You need to knock that off. You're gonna sing I Dreamed a Dream, or you're gonna sing goddamn nothing. Do you understand me? You need to speed up your jazz hands and slow down your mouth, because I am not coming in 3rd place again at this year's Father-Son Broadway musical sing-off, Wesley. It's not gonna happen. He looked up at me and said, Dad, I want to play football. I said, you don't have the thighs for football. I don't know, is that a thing? Do you need thighs for... I always see him slapping their... I don't know. Whatever. My daughter is 7 months old. We started her on solid foods not too long ago, a couple months. And at first she really wasn't getting it. I was trying to feed her the mush with the spoon, and she was just looking at me all funny. So I pretended that the spoon was an airplane, as you do. And she was still looking at me funny. And then it dawned on me that this girl has no idea who the Wright brothers are. She's not familiar with aviation, and she has no idea of the rich history that goes into the miracle of flight. So I made her watch Snakes on a Plane like 5 times in a row. Yeah, she gets it now. She eats a lot better. She won't stop screaming, though. I guess that's my fault for showing her a Samuel L. Jackson movie right off the bat. She just crawls around all day screaming, why are there so many motherfucking Cheerios in my motherfucking bowl? It's dumb. My wife did not think that was humorous at all, which is why I'm in a shed. Whatever. We decided that we're done having kids. 2 was enough for us. So we solidified that decision with, like, you know, lasers and knives and shit. Basically, I got a vasectomy. And I was putting that off for a really long time. I did not want to get one. And it was for a lot of reasons. Main reason is I don't even like getting haircuts. You know, I put those off as long as I can. They're weird. There's a stranger all up in your personal area. They're touching you. It's not for me. I hate getting haircuts. So obviously this is going to be like 1,000 times worse, right? The second reason is I was terrified. I was really scared, and I have no problem admitting that. Mainly because I did absolutely no research on what a vasectomy actually is. For all I knew, I was going to go into this office, and the guy was going to be holding a ball-peen hammer and a bottle of chloroform, and it's go time, because he already got my deposit, so I'm not backing out at this point. You know, it's whatever a vasectomy is, I'm getting one, I guess, you know? And it actually turned out to be a lot worse than I thought. As it turns out, the guy who cuts your hair and the guy who cuts your balls actually has the same exact theories on when it comes to small talk, which is to beat you over the head with it until you wish you were dead. And it was very awkward for me. You know, you're laying on this table, they're doing stuff to you, they're talking to you, and about halfway through the conversation or the procedure or whatever, things started to lull, you know, and he was busy, so I thought it was up to me to continue the conversation. And I said probably the absolute last thing you want to say during a vasectomy. I looked up at this guy and I just said, so how long you been married? That was weird. I will admit it. There was a very drastic shift in the atmosphere in that room after I said that. Obviously, everyone was very uncomfortable. But we're going out Thursday, so all right. Got a doctor. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thanks. Let's get Skip Bacon back up on the stage. Here she comes. Your host, Skip Bacon. Let's clap for her.
Give it up one more time for Joey G. I've never heard any of those jokes before, Joey. That was all inappropriate and hilarious. I write down, so when people come in and they do open mics, I write down my favorite jokes, not for like a note-taking reason. I actually don't know why I started doing it. I think it was because I wanted to think about who was up next and what my favorite jokes were that they were going to tell. So during open mics, I would write down like my favorite jokes they did. So that if somebody was like, oh, who's that one guy? And I'm like, oh, he tells this great joke about Cheerios. But I think my favorite part about Joey G's set is how he was like, I wanted her to understand and appreciate the history of aviation, because that's why the baby food thing wasn't working out, because she doesn't appreciate aviation. I come from an aviation family personally, so I was like, good for him for showing her snakes on a plane, though. Joey G, come on, you can at least give her some of the Great Waldo Pepper, which is what my dad used to teach us about aviation, which has two friends in a plane, and one plane crashes, and then one of the guys is in the plane, and it's a fiery mess of a plane, but his friend is still alive. And then the other friend's like, oh, no, you're still alive. But it was in, like, I don't know, a long time ago. And they couldn't get him out. And so the other friend had to kill that friend who was still alive but burning alive in the plane. And my dad was like, it's important that my children understand aviation. So, like, I guess all parents make mistakes. Dad, Joey, Snakes on a Plane, and The Great Waldo Pepper. 2 films I don't recommend for teaching your children to love aviation. Sorry about your balls too, Joey G. Great comedy though. The comedy is fully intact, even though your sack isn't. I'm so glad. Thank you so much, Joey G. I don't know if you probably saw his social media stuff or his Venmo, whatever. Oh my God, you guys are hilarious. I can't with this. Oh, I'm also probably not totally ready for this next set. This is my friend Jessie Smith. For people who know me, AKA Skanky. I don't think I've called her Jessie Smith since we were like ever. I don't know. Since that one time at Jocelyn's house. It was probably the last time I called you Jessie Smith, and they were like, it's a long story about why we call her Skanky. We'll have her on another time. We'll have it be a whole Skanky and Skip night, and I will tell you that story. I don't know what story she's about to tell us, but I am very excited. Oh, we have a visual aid for Jessie's set. This is Jessie Smith and her brother Kyle. We called him Pud for a really long time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why we do this thing where we don't call people their real names, but this is a picture of Skanky and her brother Pud, I believe we called him. That's them. Those are Hoosiers, you can tell by how super white we are. So anyway, this is my friend Jessie Smith. She's going to tell us a story that I don't think I've ever heard. Maybe I have, but I love this girl. She's hilarious. Give it up for Jessie Smith.
Hi, my name is Jessie. I live in the Midwest, and I'm 36 with no children, which makes me an anomaly amongst my peer group. Of course, all my friends have kids, and starting about next week, it's going to be all over social media what that damn elf on the shelf is doing. Is it shitting chocolate today? Did it get into trouble last night? Who the hell knows? I mean, it's kind of fun to watch, but it also seems like a hell of a lot of work. And from what they tell me, it is a hell of a lot of work. But supposedly it keeps their kids in line during the holiday season. If you're my age, if you're around mid-30s, your parents didn't have an elf on the shelf for you, especially at least my parents didn't. But they definitely kept our asses in line during the holiday season. And there's one particular story, an instance that happened that pretty much set the tone for the rest of my Christmases for the rest of my life. And this is Skip's favorite story. It's a holiday classic. It's a bit of a dark humor. So hopefully you can smile along with it. If not, I had a childhood. Anyway, so I was probably 8 years old. My brother was 6. And it was in December, and my parents bought him a waterbed, like a full wave waterbed, because that was supposed to help with his allergies. He had really, really bad dust and that type of allergies, and then in the 90s, a waterbed cured everything. Duh. So we got a waterbed, and it was awesome. And my, day one, got it filled up, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. So we're in his room, we're poking it, we're looking at it, and I was like, this is just like the Olympics and the high jump, and they run and they go, into the mat. I was like, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm pretty sure this is what they're jumping into. So my brother and I are running, making our approach, and just flipping into the waterbed. And of course, this thing's just slashing all over the place. So my mom comes in and she's like, what the are you doing? No, do not jump on the waterbed, pissed at us. She leaves. I was like, got ya. Just don't jump on the waterbed as hard or as loudly, just softer jumping on the waterbed. So we continue to jump, and of course, I'm a dumbass because it sounds like the Gulf of Mexico. It's water sloshing everywhere. So my mom's immediately back in the room. She's like, what did I just tell you? Go to your room. She's pissed. She's like, sit in your room. I'm going to have your punishment. I got to think about this. I'm so pissed off at you. So we sit in our rooms for like 15, 20 minutes. She comes back in and she's like, it's my brother. She's like, we're going to the Christmas tree. I was like, we're going to the Christmas tree. So she marches us into the living room to our Christmas tree, where we have all of these presents. Of course, it's December, and we've stacked up like Kyle's section here, my section here. We have them arranged by like size, by weight. Like we rearrange them every day. We check them. And she says, grab a present. I was like, she's like, just grab a present. Grab that one. I pick up this present that's addressed to my brother and I. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, come with me. So we follow mom outside. Now we're standing outside in the snow. And we lived in the country in a little white trash. So we burned our trash. The trash man didn't have to come to our house because we just set everything on fire in the backyard. That's fine. Anyway, so we got a good trash fire going in the backyard. Dad's out there stoking it, and my mom looks down at us. I'm like holding this present, shaking, and she's like, you think it's so fun? Waste money to destroy things that we pay for? Well, you're gonna learn your lesson. Throw the present in the fire. And my brother's like, my brother, he collapses. He's just a puddle of tears and just like shrieks. And I'm like trying to argue my way out of it. I'm like, what is? Get a hold of yourself, Mom. The fire. And she was like, throw it. Fire. I was like, what? No. I was like, can you at least tell me, like, can I unwrap it first? And she was like, you can't unwrap it. She was like, can you tell me what's in it? She was like, I'll tell you when you're older. I was like, oh. She was like, do it now, one of you, or you're going to take 2 presents to the fire. I was like, oh my God. So I like run out there in the snow, just like tears everywhere. My brother, he's useless. He can't even. And I just throw it in there and keep running. And I'm like, oh my God. And it just flames and it's just terrible. And I go back to my room and I, tell my parents how much I hate them. Pretty much for like the next week, I was in a dark, deep depression, just mourning the loss of that unwrapped present, and I just couldn't get over it. I was like, oh my God. It was just the darkest of days, and from then on, for years, like probably like 4 or 5 years, if my brother and I did anything during the holiday season, my mom would be like, do I need to start a fire? And I was like, no, no. She didn't even have to like go through with the threat. She would just ask if she needed to start a fire. And I'd be like, no. It was bad. It was really traumatic. But then I started telling this story to friends of mine, and they were like, what the hell was in there? I was like, my mom never told me. Then it became like an obsession with everybody, and all my friends, they were like, what was in the present? And I was like, Mom, everybody wants to know. Can you tell me? And she was like, not until you're 16. So I turned 16. She's like, not until your brother's 16. So I turned 18. And she was like, all right, you can know. And I was like, all right, oh my God, like, all these years later, 10 years later, what was it? She goes, it was a block of wood. You went downstairs, had your dad chop a piece of wood, wrapped it, put it under the tree, and I made sure you you burned a block of wood. Son, it was premeditated, it was well thought out and executed, and she kept it going for a full decade, and it was a block of wood. The moral of this story is don't dick around with Elf on the Shelf. You just toast one Christmas present, and your kids will never fucking act up again. Like, never. You've got a decade. You don't have to move an elf ever again. You have a full decade of discipline built in. It's traumatic, and it was scarring. And it's a dark story when I say it to people that didn't live in the type of household they lived in with the parents that were such hard asses. But it totally worked. They just got to, drink White Russians, Long Island's. They didn't have to fuck with an elf at night. So, put that in your thought, in your think bank. Just a thought. Just getting that out there ahead of time, ahead of the holiday season. Welcome. Thanks. Bye.
Go. That is my friend Jessie Smith and her twisted fucking parents. So hey, parents, we had a mortician on here in case you have some death needs, even any parenting needs. I heard that elf rapes, so if you're trying to get out of having that little rapey elf in your house, you just start burning shit. I remember that story because I lived through that with her. For 10 years, we had no idea what it was that her parents burned, but I can tell you for sure the threat of burning your Christmas presents in front of your eyes lingers well before Christmas starts. Before Thanksgiving, you're thinking of ways to not get your shit burned. And at least up until Christmas. But I don't think once you've burned one present for a child, the threat of burning other stuff that's important to them, I mean, it's still there. I think it's still ever present. So it's definitely not just for Christmas time. So if you're thinking, once the elf on the shelf is gone, what other creepy ass creature am I going to use to keep my kids in place? Fire, as it turns out, is the way to go. That story is ridiculous. Thank you, Jessie Smith, for telling us that story. There are so many other good Jessie Smith and her parents' stories. I hope we get to hear a lot more. Also, I don't think I'd ever heard the part of the story that apparently waterbeds were therapy when we were kids. I didn't know that's where that started. So thank you, Jessie Smith. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Jessie's parents, for being so twisted. Thank you. We also have up next, this is a first for us because up next we have a live person in the computer. Can she hear me right now? Probably, right? Yeah, she can hear me. She nodded her head. It's just like having an audience. I should just make you guys do this. Every device that I have, just put it in front of me. Can you guys hear me? Am I pretty? But I'm not going to make Miriam talk to me the whole time. I'm going to let her tell you jokes on a computer. Jessie's very good at tech. I'm going to go crouch in front of that computer, though, so I can see her. This is the wonderful, the hilarious Miriam Musavi. Hello, Miriam.
Hi guys, hi Skip, hi Jessie, hi Comics. So happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I love this show's theme. Like, talking shit about my family is the whole reason I got into this industry. It's paid off so far. A little bit about me. My name is Miriam. It's a grandma name, which makes sex weird because the guy will be like, "Do you like that, Miriam?" And I will be like, "I beg your pardon." He'll be like, "I said, do you like that, Miriam?" And I'll be like, "Can you show me how to turn on my iPhone after this?" We're still working on things. Both of my parents are immigrants, so if they ask, we are doing a TED Talk right now. Definitely not talking about my sex life. Interestingly, all my jokes are about like family or sex, and I just can't branch out of that. But yeah, I was raised Muslim, but when I got to college, I just immediately made a BLT and never looked back. I don't really think that I was gonna get into heaven anyways, though, because I plucked my eyebrows in 6th grade and I just completely blew it. Because the eyebrows in our culture are the hymen of the face. So expect that. My dad, he's super traditional. He was raised in Iran, but my mom was raised in Germany. So my dad, he wanted to arrange my marriage when I was 15. And my mom, she fought for me for my right to choose. And I'll never forgive her for cock blocking me like that. We're in love. My dad, he always wanted me to learn Farsi because I was the only one of my cousins who didn't speak it. But his lessons were just like too sporadic. He would always start with like pronouns. He'd be like, "Man means I." Okay, man means I. And then he'd just like disappear for 10 years. So I understand the language, but I am not fluent. I'd always try to find loopholes because, there was a lot of rules growing up in a Muslim household, but I try to find loopholes. Like, I really wanted to get a tattoo, so I was like, oh, I'll just get it in Arabic since the Quran is in Arabic. And then my brother was like, yeah, but the Quran also says not to mark your body. And I was like, yeah, Ollie, that's actually the verse that I was gonna get. Okay, so shut the fuck up. Actually, my brother, he's the favorite, which is like hella annoying. We do the same amount of drugs. My parents have caught on to that. I always thought that we were poor growing up, but it turns out my mom is just like very thrifty, very frugal. She took me to Costco once when I was 6, and then just made all that last till I graduated. And I was bulimic in high school. I'm better now, but I remember my therapist made me tell her as part of the healing process, and my mom was just like, you know, it hurt her. She was like, my daughter wasting food. Anyway, she doesn't really believe in doctors here in the US. She believes in alternative medicine instead, which kind of sounds cool and trendy, but it's not that kind. She genuinely believes that like urine is the perfect natural remedy for anything, for any ailment. And I remember when I was a teenager, I had this wart on my arm and I was so scared to ask her. I just wanted to get it removed. But I was like, Mom, can we please just this once go to like a medical doctor so that he can pee on it? Like, I don't think I'm asking for a lot here. Like a pediatrician, okay. But I went to Germany a couple of years ago, and it was really cool because they have universal health care there. And while I was there, my grandma, she broke her toe. Bless her heart, she broke a toe, and a freaking helicopter lifted her out of her house. And then when the bill came, it was 20 euro, and I heard her whisper under her breath, she was like, bloodsuckers. Like, she was pissed. Anyway, so, and then also when I was there, I had like this chronic cough. It just wouldn't go away. And we had to share a bed. So I'd keep her up every night. And every night she'd go to her garden to make me tea with honey and set it by the bed and tell me to shut the fuck up. And truly, I didn't realize that we would be sharing a bed, and I was staying there for a whole month, which I didn't realize like that meant I couldn't masturbate for a whole month. Because me and my grandma, we just don't like the same porn. Just can't agree on it. Okay, that's all I wanted to do tonight, you guys. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks, Miriam. I love those jokes. I think it's great. You were like, me and my grandma don't masturbate to the same stuff. How about your host, Skip Hagan? Let's make her follow that up. I love the jokes that she has, and the first time I think I ever saw her perform, I think her mom was in the audience, so that made it even better. I love that. I also like how I don't share exactly the same. Like, I know parents have favorites, and your parents, despite the fact that you and your brother do the same amount of drugs, have chosen your brother as their favorite. I don't have that problem. I am clearly my parents' favorite. There isn't a joke with that. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that, especially any of my little brother's friends who are listening. In particular, if his daughter, my niece, is still up, grandma likes me better. Okay, I just wanted to make that really clear. I also think it's hilarious that Miriam calls eyebrows the hymen of the face. Like, if anyone's making t-shirts, I don't know what you're doing in your spare time, but if you're like making t-shirts or like bumper stickers or something, you're getting a tattoo. I have tattooed eyeliner on my face. So I have tattoos on my face. But if you're getting tattoos, whatever, hymen, the hymen of the face, your eyebrows. I love it so much. I love Miriam. Thank you so much for coming, Miriam. And you can follow her Instagram or her social media stuff because Miriam is doing comedy right now. That's why she's so fresh and all her comedy's so good. We have gotten to the portion of the show where I asked you all to caption a picture that I sent out. Full disclosure on why that happened. I'm not very good at Instagram, so I accidentally posted a picture of Spice, and I don't know how to take them down. So this is the picture of Spice that I asked you guys to caption because I didn't know what to do once it had posted. I don't know if you can remove posts from Instagram. I don't know how it works, but I also know it then posts onto Facebook. So right now I just have some of the one. There's Spice. That's a that's a candid picture of Spice. Nothing is wrong with her. That's just Spice. I don't know what was going on there. So here are some of the faves so far. When you're super high, but your friends offer you snacks, she will always take a snack. Jack said when you feel a sneeze coming, but it never happens. That's just her face. She just lives in that non-sneeze portion of her life. And then Elisa's, I liked Elisa's a lot. Do I smell cookies? That's her cookies face. Oh, all of her faces are cookie faces. Gilbert had on here, as you underestimate my sneakiness. I think that's super, super accurate. That's what her voice sounds like also. Bevan, who was watching with her cat. I love that you can watch comedy with a cat. I love that you can watch comedy without pants on and not be asked to leave the theater. How dare that UPS delivery person exist? I must attack this brown box monster. That is how she feels about UPS or any large truck that's coming to murder me. And then Rosie's is one of my favorites because anytime Rosie has a little puppy, and when the puppy just stares at you, you can just look at the puppy and go, "Dame los ojitos. Dame los ojitos." And that means give me your little eyes. Give me. And the dog, I swear to God, the dog every time would be like, "I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Dame los ojitos. Not going to. Okay." And then he would give you the tiny little eyes. And it was so cute. All right. So those are some of our forerunners for the caption this with Spice. I can't stop looking at that picture of Spice. Dame los ojitos. So our next comedian knows what dame los ojitos means because she can do jokes in Inglés o en Español. Quien quiere. She's always funny. She's actually taking comedy classes right here at Stab Comedy Theater. So if she's extra funny, that's why. I think she even has a special guest with her this evening, but I'm not gonna give away any of her set because I haven't seen any of her set. So here she is, the wonderful, the beautiful, the hilarious Megan Avalos.
Hi everyone. I'm Megan. This is my son, Johnny. Say hi, Johnny.
Hi.
So, parenting comes with a lot of challenges, particularly during a pandemic. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan. This is my son, Johnny. Say hi, Johnny. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan. This is my son, Johnny. Say hi, Johnny.
Wait a second. Sometimes,
So,
according to Jesse, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Parenting
I think we
comes
might
with
be
a
in the
lot
portion of the show where it
challenges,
doesn't,
particularly
but we
during
can
a
hear it.
pandemic.
But we can't see it yet.
And one
So
of-
I'm just going to sit here for a second until he's
Hi,
pretty
everyone.
furiously clicking.
Megan.
Do you want me
This
to
is
go to
my
the
son,
next
Johnny.
one that we have queued up and we cue Megan up in the meantime?
So, parenting
He's going to do some
comes with a lot
stuff
of
real
challenges,
quick. Okay, so then we're going to
particularly
go
during a
over
pandemic.
here. And
And one
you're-
of those
you
challenges,
did it?
I think, is staying connected.
He's
with
very
the
talented.
teenager.
Oh, I can see it on my little phone. So we're going to run
Right
Megan
here.
back to the
That's
beginning.
true for
There's
any
Megan.
of us,
I told you she was
and,
funny and
I
beautiful.
really like this one, so I want to
You don't know if he's going. Is it? Are we doing it?
And one of those challenges,
Megan! Wait. Sort of back to the beginning?
One of those challenges, I
Almost?
think, is staying
Just give it a sec.
connected
Guys,
with
it's the
the
internet.
teenager.
What? You haven't accidentally
We're gonna have one
taken
right
your work
here.
phone into the
That's-
bathroom with you once since the pandemic started? I have. For sure. I'm just kidding. What's the most embarrassing thing that I've done on a Zoom call since this whole pandemic started? Oh, I know what it was. And I tried to play it off. Damn it, I wasn't going to tell anybody about I didn't even tell Gilbert about this. About this. Is that I was on a call, I don't know, it was Microsoft Teams or something, and I was on it, and they could all see my face, which I don't prefer, because you don't need to, I don't need to see your face. Like, you're wearing lipstick.
Hi,
Don't
everyone.
be so showy
I'm
offy.
Megan.
Anyway, but I was on this Zoom call, and they could all see my face, and we had our audio on, which I often don't do either, but for this particular call, I needed to have a couple of oh, interesting, Pete. So that's how I was, and I farted. And for those of you who don't know me, I fart a lot. You don't have to know me to know that. People fart. I'm not embarrassed about farting. But I sit on one of those ball chairs, so I don't like sit on a regular chair. I'm sitting on like an exercise ball. And I don't know how many of you have had the luxury of farting into an exercise ball. But when you fart into an exercise ball, it doesn't have a lot of escape room, right? So there's like, if you're sitting in a regular chair, you got your butt cheeks and they're kind of going to let it go a little bit. I mean, dogs don't have butt cheeks, and I think that's why you can't hear their farts as often. But whatever, it's the anatomy of a fart. But on the ball chair, it really it spreads your cheeks a lot, so the fart can very freely get out and gain momentum, but then is immediately stopped by the latex of a rubber ball. And instead of just stopping the fart, it takes the sound of the fart and it echoes it in to the ball. So into the exercise ball, your fart kind of like gets amplified. Like one of those microphones we use I like how I use it to pretend microphone. I have one right here. One of those microphones we used when we were a kid, and you talk into it, but it just echoes your voice through some sort of, and it's like that. So I farted, which is fine, But then it got really loud because it was in the ball chair. But I just ignored it and pretended like I didn't hear anything. I was like, oh, that could be anything. That could be someone's shoe. That could be the front door. We don't know, right? So I'm just like, oh, yeah, the number's for quarter 4. I don't know. I'm not good at my job. But so I was like, I just played it off. Didn't hear it. Didn't move. I didn't have to like move my cheeks to get it out. So they had no idea. Until about 2 seconds later, I smelled said fart. And it was abnormally bad, causing me to go, yeah, no, I totally, oh my God, what is that? Oh my God. At which point they realized I had farted and then was then smelling it. They put it all together and I was super embarrassed. My face went red. I started sweating a little bit. And I told them that my internet dropped so I can get off the call and just make this freaking nightmare end. So that's the most embarrassing thing that happened to me since we started. Technology is hard. I was never going to tell that story to anyone alive or dead. Anyway, here's Megan Avalos, and the internet's going to work for us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan. This is my son, Johnny. Say hi, Johnny.
Hi.
So, parenting comes with a lot of challenges, particularly during a pandemic. And one of those challenges, I think, is staying connected with your teenager, which I happen to have one right here. That's true for any of us. And I really like this one, so I want to make sure that we stay connected. So I figured the best way to do that would be with a formal job performance evaluation. Let's begin. All right, Johnny, you've been with this family for how long now?
16 years.
Good. 16 years and 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
Good. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate being a member of this family?
I would say an 8.
Okay. All right, that's pretty good. It's a high score, but there's room to grow there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, what would you say is your biggest strength when it comes to your performance in this family?
I'm pretty good at not starting any problems.
That is accurate. You are very good at not starting any problems. In fact, he's pretty good at calming problems down. Okay, I find that accurate. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your performance as a member of this family?
I guess a 7. I could probably do more if I tried.
Okay. All right, I'll accept a 7. There will be a portion at the end where you will receive scores on your
Okay.
performance, so we'll revisit that later. What is your favorite thing about being a part of this family?
Well, there's not really a time where I feel like I'm alone, I guess.
That's a really good answer. All right. Okay, we like to have fun here at Avalos Family Inc. Please do an impression of me doing an impression.
Of you doing an impression.
Do you remember my favorite impression?
What is your favorite impression?
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Okay,
Your turn.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Excellent. Excellent. You sounded just like me. Okay, so now we're going to have a rapid fire exam on the ins and outs of this family.
Okay.
Who is my favorite musician or band?
Wu-Tang Clan.
Good. We would also have accepted Elton John.
Yeah.
Who is yours?
Chopin.
That is also correct. Good job. What is the maximum number of your friends that can carry the title of bonus son, bonus daughter, or bonus offspring?
I'll say
We're looking for an upper limit.
upper limit 5.
Incorrect. There is no limit.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. You can study more for that one next time.
Okay.
Name 3 things that you and I bond over or have in common.
We both know a lot about skating. We both watch the same shows because I only watch shows with you. And I'm not sure.
I can think of a third one.
Okay.
We like to get ridiculous food together.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
All right. If you and I could take a post-COVID mother-son trip around the world anywhere, where would we go?
We would probably go to somewhere that has crazy food.
That was my next question. What would we eat while we're there? The crazy food, I guess.
Yeah, we would eat crazy food because that would be the purpose.
Excellent. Okay, I think this wraps up your job performance evaluation.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a score out of 10 as my son.
Okay.
We have taken a lot into account for this. We've come up with 3,492. We did have to take 2 points off for not creating enough conflict, just for entertainment's sake.
Okay.
But other than that, well done.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. I highly recommend you also sit your teenager down for a formal job or evaluation. Johnny, do you also recommend that?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, good. Stay close, everyone. Stay safe. Love you.
There you go. There's Megan Avalos and her, I want to say a mid-year evaluation, end of year, has 16 years in a family, 16 years and how many was, she knew the actual days. I love that. One of the reasons I love that is because I also have a mom who, no offense, Megan's very funny, but my mom thought she was really funny, like all the time. So she'd be like, hey. Tell him that joke I told you. Tell him that impression I did. Tell him that really funny thing I did. And then we'd tell people in that exact same voice that Johnny used. We would tell people, and they'd be like, and we're like, can we go? And Mom would be like, yeah, I nailed it. Hey, what's up, guys? And we warmed her up. We were like the opening comics for her in the parish social hall. Yeah, my mom is super. Can I get my $1 for donuts? She's pretty too, and I'm a good kid, and I just want to go. That was amazing, Megan. I had not thought of this for the family comedy show, so I am very, 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 very good. And my dad did that thing where he allowed us. I didn't know other people did that, where he named other kids. We had D1 and D2, where daughter 1 and daughter 2. I think I was D1. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might not. I don't know if I was D. Anyway, he named other friends of mine that would come over. He would name them as like D1 or D2. So my dad also did that. Also, sorry, while Megan was doing her set on there, there were a lot of fart comments coming in, and I was just trying to fill airtime. Sorry, Megan, that your comedy was accompanied by a bunch of fart jokes. Like, oh, hey, but what about shower farts? Jesse's right. They're also real bad. The ball doesn't amplify the smell, just the sound. The shower amplifies. I don't know. I think both. I don't want to talk about my farts anymore. I don't know. I'm just going to bring David out so we can put a lid on the fart talks. I don't want to talk about my farts anymore, but I do want to hear some of David's comedy. So here he is.
Okay. It's nice to be on the family show. I have a pretty small family. I've got a dog and a cat and a wife whose name is Allison. I like to say her name because she's a human being. There's her hand. My dog. I always like to tell this story about my dog. I really like her because she doesn't talk, and I'm kind of an introvert. And the problem is that I take her on walks, and other people want to say hi to her, and so they'll run up and they'll start petting her. And this one lady did this, and I said, "Hey, check to make sure the dog's friendly." And she said, "All golden retrievers are friendly." And I said, "Then check to see that I'm friendly." And she laughed at that. And so I said, "Arr, arr, arr." I just scared my dog. Sorry about that, Dora. And that story used to be like a comedy lie. And didn't actually happen. But then this weekend, this woman wasn't respecting social distancing rules with my dog, and so that became a true story this weekend. I told the joke so many times it was just my natural reaction. I'm married. My wife and I, we grew up Christian and then converted to feminism. We tried to make the two fit together. They don't. Right off the bat of the New Testament, the Virgin Mary. 13-year-old girl being told by an all-powerful being she worships to have his child. So that's a Me Too moment. It's a bad one. And she's the most respected woman in religion, but still, if she descended from heaven and said she felt coerced, Christians everywhere would say, she's just doing this for fame. And can the angel Gabriel corroborate the story? And if it's legitimate, the body has ways to shut down immaculate conception. So, because I was raised as a Christian, and my wife was raised as a Christian, we're bad at sex. Because we didn't have sex until we got married, and that's what happens. And I was reading the statistic that gay women have significantly more orgasms than straight women, and I contributed to that statistic. And so I was looking at, like, that's the thing. Like, gay sex works better for pleasure, so it should just be called sex now. It's like meats and meat substitutes, right? It's the modifier goes on the worst one. So this should be sex and straight sex. It's like, straight sex is like meat substitutes, like being vegan, because a lot of people do it for ethical reasons, and you're gonna need another source of protein. You need more. And I actually looked up. I was looking up advice from lesbians because they're better, and I thought they were kidding at first because they were like, "Don't use your penis; it's bad." And that turns out to be what most good sex advice comes down to. It's just that's foreplay. It's just stop penising. Don't use your penis. Use something non-penisy, and then eventually your penis will be more tolerable. It is upsetting how good of advice it is. Just like use any part of your body other than your penis on any part of her body. And like that's why lesbians are so good at sex, is because there's no penis involved unless they want a penis, and then they've made a better one. And the ultimate goal for men, really, if you want pleasure, is you hope to do enough lesbian sex stuff that your spouse is comfortable enough and happy enough that they're comfortable enough to use the gay sex advice they got from the gay men in their life, and you still don't need your penis for that. Thank you very much.
I think the thing I laughed really hard at his wife laughing. So every time you heard a laugh, but then you heard another laugh, it was me laughing because she was laughing, and I loved it a lot. In case you were thinking, whoa, Skip Aiken, that guy tells a lot of jokes about the things that you think are funny. This is true. I'm collaborating with him on other funny things, so don't worry. I tapped into that funny ass. He's hysterical. I like it very much, and I think this is the thing I do with comedians sometimes, is they get done with a set and they're like, oh, not a very good set. And I'm like, yeah, you did. And then I say, like, my favorite part of your set because I wrote it down and I took notes. But I also, sometimes people will say stuff about themselves and I'm like, you're not really like, and one of the things I wrote down, but then I realized you can't say to him, he was like, so it means that we're bad at sex. And I was like, no, you're not bad at sex. And I was like, oh, I can't say that to him. I don't know that for a fact. So anyway, and I love hearing stories about people and why they choose the dogs they choose, because I'm an extreme extrovert. So I have Pomeranians because they're always like, what's up? You want to hang out? I'm in your face. Want to touch? Let's touch. Can we touch? That's like my vibe. So I'm super into that. My little brother asked me recently, yeah, but why would you have a dog that does all that stuff? And I was like, because I do all that stuff. Wait, I'm not annoying. I love my Poms. They're fine. They're in a pen right now. So I'm very excited. Thank you so much, David, for being a Christian who converted to feminism. I enjoy this very much. Do we have one more chance to put up a picture of Spice? He's typing some stuff, so I don't know if we can. We had one more quote. What is it called? Comment? Caption. That dog is so fat. I bet nothing comes out when he barks. I don't like that one. She's a regular sized dog. So I think it's going to Lisa, who said, "Do I smell cookies?" So thank you, Spice, for being there for that caption contest. I'll try to accidentally post more adorable pictures of my dog in the future. We're unfortunately down to our last 2 comedians of the evening. They're extraordinarily funny. I'm trying to, before we get to the last 2, just want to remind you to follow these guys on Instagram, give the Venmo, check out Stab, because they have a bunch of shows that they are doing regularly. Like, you can get, if you're on Twitch, you can set it so you get notifications. I'm like explaining how the internet works. You can get notifications when they're doing stuff. So you're like, ugh, this morning sucks and I don't want to do anything. Oh, bing. The Stab's doing something. Let's go check them out. So you can do that. I like it. It's one of my favorite things about Twitch. I guess it's the only thing I use to. Anyway, doesn't matter. You know how the internet works and notification settings on your phone work. I'm sorry for explaining them. I'm just going to bring out Aurora, right? Because she's funny. She's hilarious. I haven't seen any of these sets, so I'm going to go over there and watch it. Here's Ms. Aurora sing.
Hi there. I would apologize for my overall laid-back appearance, but the world's going to end soon and nothing matters anymore. Let's be clear, I have not worn a bra since March. Just stating the facts. I'm a big biracial brown. My mom is from Haiti, fresh off the boat, and my dad is from India, fresh off the cow. It's a unique mix. It's really the worst of both third worlds. This year has brought up a lot of weird, touchy shit in general, but especially for being biracial. I've noticed over my lifetime that I look mixed, obviously, but I'm like ambiguous. Is that the word? I'm like ambiguous. For example, when I'm with black people, just in a group of black people, I look black. And when I'm with Indian people and I'm dressed in like a traditional sari and everything, I look Indian. The craziest part is when I'm with white people, because I look like whatever they're afraid of. My parents are also very different religions. My mom is super Catholic and my dad is Sikh, which has always made the holidays a really weird time in my life. Sometimes when people find that out, they sometimes ask, like, how did they come to a compromise in your household and raise you and do traditions and all that? And they didn't. They're divorced. So, and like, obviously, like, those are so different religions and there's no way that was going to work out. I mean, my mom really, really, really wanted to raise me Catholic, and my dad really, really, really didn't want to raise me. Well, I'm just happy this year I'm not going to be spending time with my entire family. Don't get me wrong, I love my family. I just have gone through a lot this year, and I really don't want to hear about how much weight I've gained. When am I going to have a kid? And why do I smell like bacon and cheese? Like, just let me live my life, okay? I'm just waiting for it to all be over. I'm just waiting for the new year so that hopefully next year will come along and be like bright and positive, and there's like a vaccine and there's like a new president and people stop judging me for drinking so much. Like, I'm just hoping for like a better year next year, or hoping for it all to end. Either way, I'm good. This year, I'll be spending the holidays with my new husband, my chihuahua, and my mom. That's right, something good did happen this year. I got married to an essential employee, and I'm so thankful. Honestly, this year around Thanksgiving, we'll probably just eat a ton of food, probably try and see who can outdrink each other, take a long nap, and then wake up and eat way too much brie and then be backed up for like 4 days. Are you guys doing Black Friday shopping this year? Because I think I'm going to, mostly to put smiles on my family members' faces, and then maybe get a couple things for myself, whatever it takes to fill the emptiness inside. Before I go, I would like to share one holiday memory that really reigns true to my heart, and it's something I will always remember and cherish forever. And it's that one Christmas, my dad was just overjoyed with family and just all of us being together in the house, and you know, he was drinking and he was eating, and he decided to leave an extra bed open for another family member by sleeping in the hospital because he drank himself to the point where he fell into the fireplace. So happy holidays. Well, my edible is starting to kick in, and I'm gonna go away and think about how great life was back in the day when I had an income. Have a great night.
Everybody, give it up for Aurora. She's hilarious, and clearly has a Venmo that I hope is still up on the screen. Wow, I didn't know we were going to have a winner for tonight's show. I mean, I know we still have one comedian left, but what I happen to know about that comedian is he is married to Aurora, so that makes him by default not eligible to be the winner, because I'm pretty sure Aurora won the evening by getting married to an essential worker. I mean, that's like the biggest 2020 win I've ever heard of. I'm going to go around the rest of quarantine probably trying to see if anyone can top that. Aurora, the winner for the evening, possibly for 2020, for marrying an essential worker. I think she married him before she even knew he was an essential worker. Whew! That girl was taking risks, but she is our winner for the evening, and she's hilarious. I also like how she tapped into something that I hope is real for other people. The only time that she looked off screen was just real quick off camera to say, wait, is ambiguous still a word? Is this happening for everyone else where words are getting real like dicey? Okay, not everyone who's reading books. I don't know anybody who reads. I'm kidding. I'm sorry, Megan. I know you read. I'm just kidding. I don't read books. I bought 2 today. I just don't read. But yeah, that's the thing that's happening is we're forgetting like how to spell words. What was I on? I was on a comedy show or something, and they made me. They were like, well, how do you spell it? And I was like, fuck you. I don't know. What? So words are really hard right now. So that's another one. So wow. Aurora really, really winning in the pandemic, but also struggling like the rest of us to use, what are they called again? Oh, words. Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you, Aurora. And for it, you guys also put some of the funniest stuff in the chats. I love that. It's like you're wasting material on us sometimes because it's so good. So thank you so much, Aurora, for being on. And for being braless, that's a thing of the past. I think come 2021, it is a thing of the past. Just some like light nipple coverage. See, you know what? I forgot about this. I forgot that every time I talk about bras or nips or whatever, or I guess now farts, you guys get super into it. Do you know how many requests I have right now for like more fart material? This is the weird. I forgot how weird this can get, Jesse. All right. Anyway, before it gets any weirder, let's bring out our next comedian, Mr. Drew Shaver.
Hey everybody, I'm Drew. Happy Saturday, thanks for watching. I want to talk about my family a little bit. For starters, I was very sheltered as a child. My diet consisted solely of Flintstones vitamins, so this is what I look like. I'll never forget in 3rd grade, this girl ran across the playground, looked me dead in the eye and went, "Drew, you're the ugliest thing that's ever been born." Okay, I can't see or hear anybody, but I hope there's like, "Aww," or like some sort of disagreement and not just silently like sitting there and going, "Yeah, I get it. So true." She said I was the ugliest thing that has ever been born. Okay, now is when you're saying, "Aww." Yeah, she said I was ugly, and I was like, well, you're a shitty teacher. I got in trouble. Yeah, definitely got in trouble for that one. And so they called my mom in. She sat me down. She gave me a pep talk, but the pep talk was this. "Drew, you know, some people are born good looking and other people are born smart. Hopefully you're funny." And that's when I decided to become a stand-up comedian. So thanks, Mom. Yay, I did it. Yeah. Growing up, sheltered, we played a lot of board games. We didn't really go out and do anything. We just like stayed at home and played board games. And my favorite board game was actually Sorry. Yeah, Sorry, where you'd sit down and you'd go around the table and apologize to everybody. We also grew up super poor, but my mom like protected me from realizing that. Like, we grew up on food stamps. So every month we'd wait in line, we'd get the food stamps. And I thought that's just what happened. And so one day when I was a kid, I found a $5 bill in the grocery store and I started crying. And my mom was like, "Why are you crying? You found $5. And I was like, "Because I wanted to buy candy, but this is clothes money." And then she had to like explain to me that you can buy anything with real money. And I was like, then why don't we have more of it? Growing up poor, I always just wanted cool shoes, and my favorite were Converse. That's all I ever wanted. And I remember asking for them when I was like 10 years old. I was like, Mom, can I get Converse? And she was like, you're not going to get nice shoes until your feet stop growing. And then in 8th grade, my feet stopped growing. I went, Mom, can I get Converse now? And she said, you're not going to get nice shoes. I also realized that we were poor growing up because the toothpaste we bought was AIM toothpaste. AIM toothpaste, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend it to keep them in business. And maybe nobody out there has also had AIM toothpaste. Like maybe you're sitting there in your Colgated communities. That one was for you, Skip. Pun number 1 for the night. AIM toothpaste is actually sponsored by Gingivitis. Also a weird thing, AIM toothpaste actually has nutrition information on it, you know, just in case you're that desperate. Being sheltered, I never had alcohol until my 21st birthday, and I worked at a restaurant, and so they threw a party at the bar for me, and they invited my mom. And the thing is, my mom had 1 drink and got drunk, because apparently I wasn't the only one who hadn't had alcohol for 21 years. And I know she was drunk because she went up to everybody and she would look at them and be like, this is my favorite mistake. What? And so the next day I was just like, Mom, last night you got a little drunk. She's like, no, I didn't. I was fine. I was like, no, Mom, you went to everybody and said that I was a mistake. And she looked at me and said, well, I didn't mean mistake. I meant accident. That's not better. That is not better. Accident, that is not a positive word. Like if I told my mom right now, if I picked up my phone and texted her and said, I was in a car accident, she wouldn't be like, oh my God, did you get the price right on The Price is Right? Anyway, this year's great because I'm finally celebrating Thanksgiving with my new family. That's right, in 2020, I got married. Woo, 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 yeah. She's perfect. Like, I know that if I was falling off a mountain, I could only have one person holding my hand to keep me from falling off that mountain. I'd want it to be her. Yeah, because she never lets shit go. Ever. Thank you guys so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.
Yeah, he knows what I like. Colgated? Okay, listen, I know you can all hear me laughing, and I know you heard me not laugh at Colgated communities until he went, that's for you, Skip. And I was like, oh, no, yeah. Oh, it's so fun. So don't act like you didn't hear my delayed laugh. You did. But puns are hard. That was witty. The wife, and she never lets shit go. Come on. Ugh, he knows what I like. I like those jokes. I liked all the jokes. I liked all the stories you told about your families tonight. I have thoroughly enjoyed this evening and would love to regularly do this for you again anytime. All you have to do is tell me, Skip, oh, you're so pretty and funny. Tell us some more. I'm kidding. All you have to do is continue supporting these comedians, letting them know you want some more content from them. You want to hear some more stories from them, and I will bring them to you. If you love them and you follow them and you like their jokes, tell them, because I tell them all the time. I'm not even sure they believe. Well, I think Drew must believe me because he gave me those puns. Thank you. Thank you. I love puns. Anyhow, what else did I want to remind you of? Oh, here's some things we learned this evening. Number 1, someone actually typed this in. Shower farts are farts times 10. Other thing that we learned, snitches get stitches, but so do little boys who put their underwear on with their teeth. That's super fucking weird, Jack. You're a weirdo. Some requests for future shows, more fart material. That's really the only notes I got, some more fart material. So I'll be working on that, doing some workshopping on fart material. This is super embarrassing. Don't like it. What else did we learn today? How grateful I am for all the funny people in our lives. You can see all their information. Oh, you could see all their information on a screen next to me. It's okay. You can fill that screen with whatever you want. This is their information on where to follow them, how to give them money, how to support Stab as well, so we can keep bringing you these shows. Thank you so much. I have been your host, Skip Bacon. You have been my funny audience members, and they have been your amazing comedians. Jesse has been our amazing person who runs these shows all the time. Thank you so much for coming to the Stab Social Distancing Comedy Showcase Family Edition. Maybe December we can get a Christmas edition going for you. I have a story about Jack for Christmas also. He was like in a lot of my memories. Thank you so much for coming. Good night, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Skip. Everybody at home. giving it up for Skip and everybody that we had tonight. Wonderful night. We'll definitely have another social distancing stand-up showcase back around again. We just needed to give it a 5-month break. But we'll be back around. Thank you all for joining us. And that's it for us tonight. If you want to see what else is going on at Stab Comedy Theater TV, check out stabcomedytheater.com for the full calendar of events. Or if you're on Twitch, which, guys, you should be over on Twitch. Just scroll down. The upcoming week's worth of events is right below. And that gives you a quick snapshot of what's coming up next week. Check out tomorrow. The Suzette Vanetti Show returns. We may or may not have some Happy Time Arcade. I might need a break. I might give myself a break. And we might just have Suzette at 5 tomorrow. We'll see. I mean, even when I say break, you know I'm still going to be working. I just won't be doing it in front of a camera. So that's that. Let's see if I can send the Twitch audience. See, here's a bonus. If you're watching on Twitch, I would be able to send you to some of our other comedy friends that we watch and hang out with. Like, let's send you to Comedy Hub. They're finishing up KO Comedy. At least I hope they're still going. That's the one issue, not knowing if the show's still going. Let's send you over to Comedy Hub. Yeah, it looks like KO Comedy is still going. Damar Randy is up there right now. Some more stand-up for you. See, you could be continuing your comedy night over on Twitch. If you were here, try that next time. You'll not be disappointed. All right, go enjoy. I'll see you tomorrow.